AI and ChatGPT are, like the trends right now. You throw those words in, it probably sells. So, like I started a new AI newsletter just 3 days ago. We got like 500 subscribers in 3 days.
Hey everyone, this is Mark DeGrasse, the president of Digital Marketer, and this is the podcast that keeps you up to date on everything you need to know when it comes to digital marketing, from the platforms you can be focused on to the kind of tactics and tools that are working today. Today, our guest is Kenneth Yu, the founder of an accidental movement called WYODC, Write Your Own Damn Check. And today we're talking about offers. So welcome, Kenneth.
Yep. Thanks for having me on board, Mark.
All right.
Well, let's to be here.
Let's start with the accidental movement and your acronym. I love that. Write your own damn check. I'm guessing it relates to offer creation.
It relates to being independent in business. So it's the thinking that comes from not being beholden to governments, not being beholden to the authorities that you can achieve financial independence with your own damn hands.
Love it.
And with ingenuity. And yeah, it started, WYODC started about 3 years ago. So during the height of the pandemic, my background is I'm one of the highest paid copywriters in the world. I have, promotions for Agora. I used to be the copy chief of Mindvalley, if you know Mindvalley. So all these sales funnel stuff came from me about 15 years ago now. So basically, I was one of the pioneers of sales funnels, even before ClickFunnels. Then, 3 years ago during the pandemic, everyone was locked down. I was bored. And then I created an offer on creating courses. And basically, I remember when I was doing the launch for it, the very first video, I say, you need to write your own damn check. Need a WYODC, and suddenly everybody was shouting WYODC, WYODC, WYODC from everywhere in the world. Like it was just everywhere in the world. People were doing that, and suddenly I realized, hey, I hit on something, and this is the wave that I've been riding on ever since.
That's fantastic. Well, I always find that the best kind of movements actually happen like that, where it's unplanned and spur of the moment.
Yep.
So good job. Well, I mean, also 15 years of being a top copywriter probably helped create that phrase in the first place. But, not everybody could do that. So it sounds like you hit on something that everybody wanted at the time, which is fantastic. And from a marketing perspective, offer creation is really hard for people. I think that they, when you're setting up your company, you're setting up your brand, you're setting up your marketing and your products, all of that stuff takes up all this effort. But what really matters in terms of actually making your next campaign successful is that core offer. So how do you get people to kind of focus on that? And do you have a formula for actually creating offers?
Yeah, it's a very simple formula. So basically, it's called a UFO. So I go into what that is in a moment. But I want to go into the core concept of offer creation. I call it Holy Grail. So, I have a program called Holy Grails where we teach people offer creation and everything. And why Holy Grail? Because Holy Grail is from King Arthur's legend, right? So basically, it's during the time of Camelot. And it was an object of desire that King Arthur would sacrifice his kingdom for. Like essentially he pursued the Holy Grail and the Knights of Camelot were wiped out and the kingdom of Camelot were wiped out. So Knights of the Round Table were wiped out. He had a thriving kingdom before, but after pursuing, at all costs, he pursued the Holy Grail. Why? Because it was supposed to give immortality. And this object of desire, this concept of the object of desire, you find it all across pop culture. You find it all across the different things that succeed in our industry. So even in pop culture, the MCU, the biggest movie franchise in history. What was phase 1, 2, 3? What was the Holy Grail? It was the Infinity Gauntlet, wasn't it? It was Thanos. It was the Infinity Gauntlet. Everything was cascading and culminating in the Infinity Gauntlet. And you want that kind of attention for your product or service. I mean, imagine if you were the Infinity Gauntlet. Imagine if you were the Holy Grail. And basically, offers that succeed in the industry are Holy Grail offers.
Ah, that makes so much sense. Well, and it's a really easy concept for people to get. You know, I think Hermosi, he always talks about the $100 million offer and the thing that's like, what's irresistible, right? And so for King Author, like you were saying, this was so irresistible, this one object, they gave up literally everything and got everybody killed.
Yeah.
That part's not good. But the passion he had for that one deal is a really good example. So how does that translate into, say, a company that doesn't really know, what they should be selling or what they should present to people as the Holy Grail? Because I found with, working with so many businesses, they like, well, let me list all my products first. And this is the top seller, but this is the conversion product, so there's always this discrepancy between how do I promote the thing that I know makes me money, or how do I promote the thing that gets people in the door so that eventually I could have people buy the thing that makes money.
Yeah. So I use a process, and, usually every stage of the journey, you hit on different pain points and you hit on different needs. So basically my formula for the Holy Grail is called the UFO. So, and it stands for unique fantasy object.
Ooh.
Unique fantasy object. and I go into, it's actually a 3-step process. I will go into fantasy first because UFO sounds a lot catchier than FUO. But that's actually the first step. So fantasy is basically this. What is the pain that your prospect wants to escape from? And very specifically, I call it, what is the bleeding thumb pain that your prospect wants to escape from? Because this actually happened to me. So let me just tell you a story, illustrates everything, and after that you can nail the pain points of your customers actually very, very easily. So this was, I think 20 years ago, before I met my wife. I was a stupid bachelor. And without my wife, I tend to do foolish things. I still do foolish things now, but it was less more so that less foolish. So I had frozen burger patties from the fridge. So I had this, bunch of frozen burger patties that were stuck together because they were all joined together. I decided, instead of letting it thaw, letting it
no time,
defrost. No time. I took a meat cleaver. I tried to pry open the burger, and I slipped, and I nearly chopped off my thumb.
Oof.
So I severed my thumb. I could see my sinew. I could see bone. It was just bleeding everywhere. So basically, I nearly cut off my thumb. And at that point in time, my thumb became a very urgent problem. So it wasn't like I was going to watch Netflix. It was that I was going to play a video game. I needed to see a doctor immediately. And not even my family doctor that was a mile away. My favorite doctor, the doctor I trust. It's the nearest doctor to my apartment. Like, whoever is nearby, I need to get this problem fixed. And so, thankfully, I still have the scars today. That's actually so he managed to save the thumb and whatnot. And really, the question then you ask is, what's your customer's bleeding thumb?
So basically, the most urgent issue that needs to be solved immediately. And even if you have a solution, like this solution is so necessary right now that you're willing to do, actually just break what you usually would do, which would be go to the family doctor, set an appointment, all that kind of stuff. It was so urgent, you had to take care of it now. So you went with the closest solution. So the UFO is basically something that's so urgent that you can't even deny having to take care of it using what you have available. Is that?
Yes. It means that the solution is so painful that you're not even considering brand loyalty anymore.
There you go. That's fantastic. How do you translate that into losing a thumb and making people make that choice? That's interesting. So let's just use an example. So we have, digital marketer. We just came out with our new social media certification, and so we're trying to push that. So how can we make a UFO related to, say, a social media course?
Okay, here's the fantasy right now. So again, your bleeding thumb also needs to take into account like what's happening in the world in terms of the trends, in terms of, the demographics, everything. So what happened is, I think white collar BizOp is going to be a big thing. And what I mean by that is, BizOp used to be very blue collar. You're a plumber, you want to make money on the internet instead and everything. But now all the tech workers are going broke because, the layoffs are crazy right now. Like, 20,000 jobs being cut by Facebook, Microsoft, hundreds of thousands of jobs being lost. Which basically means, right, that in terms of the fantasy, what's the bleeding thumb? The bleeding thumb is you either are about to lose your job or your job isn't going to pay you. You're probably not going to get any increments, you're probably not going to get any bonus. The gravy train has passed. Which means you need a side hustle already doing the things that you already like to do, which is social media. And so that's the fantasy part. The uniqueness part is, so we have fantasy, which is the bleeding thumb, whatever the bleeding thumb is, that's the fantasy, and, making brand loyalty irrelevant. Uniqueness is novelty. So usually I say, when it comes to offers, give people what they want in a way they don't expect.
Ooh, that's a good phrase. I like that.
Yeah, thank you. So the bleeding thumb, what they want is the healing, the sewing back and whatnot, in a way they don't expect. And here's why: is because if you give them a solution that's too typical, they will tend to not even look at it in the first place, because we're wired for novelty. That's why, in Austin, Texas, the bars and restaurants that are getting the most attention are the newer ones, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right? Like you can have an old restaurant that's like amazing, the best steaks and the best Texas barbecue and everything, but it's a new restaurant that gets all the customers.
Give it a shot, right?
Yeah. And that's because we're wired for the new. We're wired for something different. And so one of the lessons that I learned, again, another story, when it comes to uniqueness and how people hunger for the new, is I wrote a promotion for Agora Health. So Agora is a health division, not just the financial side. So I wrote for Agora Health. Paul Amos at that time said the copy was amazing, the lead was amazing, everything was amazing. And we tested it out, and then it didn't flop completely, but it did like, okay. But, considering the hype it got and considering to say this was a very solid copy, why didn't it actually convert? And we actually did the video analytics, and it was for a diabetes supplement. And what happened was we went through the video, and we realized everybody dropped off. Like the beginning was great, everybody was there. They dropped off at the mention of the first ingredient. Because I based the ingredient on something called Genema, which was really big 20 years ago, but it was old hat in the supplement circles. That means it was already, it's an effective ingredient. That's why it's still in products, right? But the minute someone says Genema, even though it's effective, they tune out.
No, this is just the same as everything else I already have.
Yes. Or so people always hunger for the new. And when it comes to uniqueness, how do you look for the new? So there are 3 ways to look for new depending on your products. And it's past, present, future. Past, present, future. So with some products, you look back at the past. And you say, with this product and the components of the product, is there anything I can tie to? Is there anything related to the past? So let me give you an example. I will go back to the social media certification thing and how we run that process through. So basically, we do So basically, we look at the past. So one of my other supplements, because I also have supplement companies and stuff like that. It's a broccoli supplement, and broccoli is like boring as heck, right? Like my partner initially was his whole angle was, instead of taking 5 cups of broccoli, you take a pill. So it was just so boring. Like, who the hell wants to eat broccoli, right? So basically, we look at the past. We look at all the history surrounding broccoli and sulforaphane, which is the key ingredient. And we found something really interesting. There was a Roman politician back in the days of Caesar, and his favorite food was broccoli and other such vegetables. Like, he swore by broccoli and all these other vegetables. But what was really interesting about him was the average age at that time, in the age of Caesar, the average adult age was 40 years old. Lifespan was about 40. This politician lived until 80, which is even long by today's standard, or quite long by today's standard. And so I was like, there's something interesting here. I came up with this headline. So instead of eat 5 pieces of broccoli, 5 cups of broccoli a day, I said, renegade Roman politician holds the key to everlasting youth.
Ooh.
Big difference, right?
I like that. No, it sounds special.
Yeah, that sounds special, right? It sounds unique. And past. So you look at the past, you look at the present meaning the trends. What are the current trends right now in the industry? So like with Agora Financial, right? They used to be very good at this. When Donald Trump says something, they will immediately put it in a sales letter, and then it starts converting like gangbusters. Like, there's a new government policy, or there's a new trend in terms of the marketplace. I mean, AI and ChatGPT are, like the trends right now. You throw those words in, it probably sells. So, like, I started a new AI newsletter just 3 days ago. We got like 500 subscribers in 3 days.
Wow,
something like that.
Solid growth.
Yeah, that's solid growth. That's just because of that we understand the present and then the future. And the future is about, what are the scientific breakthroughs? What are the sci-fi? Are there algorithms? Actually, AI falls more into that, like basically that, or, Web3, NFTs, like all this. The thing about technology is, because it's not easily understood, it's fascinating. Because we are fascinated by what we don't understand, what we don't comprehend.
And we're much more impressed by it too.
Yeah. And that's why it's so easy to form an AI-based Ponzi scheme and make a lot of money. A crypto Ponzi scheme, as you don't understand, right? Like, there's economic systems that don't make sense. It probably doesn't even make sense to the person who created it in the first place. And, the obscurity creates fascination.
Oh, no, those are really excellent points. I think for, just applying it to the social cert would be what we found while we were actually creating the cert was that everybody looked at social media completely wrong for the most part, because most of the courses focus on building followers, going viral, getting comments and engagement, and very few actually talk about how do you make money and get leads from social. So
that's true.
We actually, number one priority for us was get leads and conversions from social. It's not grow your following and get all these likes, and who gives a crap about that? I mean, we care about it and engagement and community building, but that's a totally different function from making money, right? And so it's not just about brand building and stuff. So I think for us, the unique side would probably be that. So
yes,
basically what you said then in terms of, combining that aspect, the unique aspect with the fantasy would be a bunch of, say, tech admin workers who got laid off could now understand that if you use social the right way, you could get a new job, you could start a new company, you could do all these things because now you understand social the right way to, write your own check, right?
Yes.
I hate to interrupt our podcast, but I have an announcement about digital marketers content certification. Content without a content marketing strategy is an expensive mistake, but it's one that most businesses are making. When it comes to content marketing, all content should be created with a clear purpose to move a customer or potential customer along the customer value journey. That's why you need Digital Marketer's Content Mastery certification. You'll learn how to leverage a complete content system to strategize, create, and distribute content that just plain works. When you become a certified content marketing strategist, you'll master the craft of systematically creating and promoting content that drives noticeable revenue for any business, and you'll get a badge to prove it. Learn more right now at digitalmarketer.com/content-cert.
So when it comes to social, I have a social posting product. So basically it's social media templates and everything that converts like gangbusters for me pretty much. And that's because I say you cut and paste these templates, you make $20,000.
I like that.
Which I actually did. I took the template, put it on, and I made 20K. Like, wow. And in fact, it was crazy. Like, if you know Mimosa Mastermind by Amber Spears, like, so it's one of the top masterminds in the industry. Perry Belcher spoke for one of the ones. So it was an $8,000 program. I didn't want to pay out of pocket. I wrote 3 Facebook posts and I made the money to fly to the States. Yep. So that was part of the angle. So basically, I'm a cheap ass Asian. I didn't want to pay out of pocket to go to an overpriced mastermind. I wrote 3 posts and I made enough to go there.
That's awesome. Hey, that's a good way to do it too. Hey, you could go to the event, but you have to pay for it with money you make right now.
Yeah, that's true. Let me just give you a tip for free.
Sure.
And it's a spin on Ryan and what digital marketer talk about, the whole SLO, right? Like self-liquidating offer. Right? So basically, here's how you can make that even more powerful. You stick to the SLO. Acronym, but instead you replace the O. So it's self-liquidating objective.
I like that.
That basically means I use the product, I make money immediately, as much as possible. So basically it's called storytelling. So the social media product works is because, cut and paste, click, boom. It's a self-reinforcing cycle. I make money that just by one implementation and I already,
quick
the
win.
product makes money. It's a quick win. Yeah.
Love it.
So quick win products convert.
Well, and it's the conversion, right? Because as soon as you get people to buy that one product, now you could ascend them through the rest of your products and, get even more profitable. But that initial one is always the hardest.
Yeah, which is true. Because here's the thing about information products, right? Because we're both in the info space, is that the info space is not a tangible space. Not like, if I go to the store, I buy chewing gum. The result is immediate. I pop it in my mouth and, there's good flavor, right? So, but with the info space, the more tangible we can make it like chewing gum, the more money we will make because it then resembles the rest of the world.
Love that. Yeah. Do this one thing and you'll get this result right now. Yeah. And that's, right. I was in the fitness space for a long time too. And that was always the hardest thing about fitness was it's like, hey, use this product and you're going to sweat with it and you're going to work really hard and it's going to be painful. And then in several months, you might lose some weight, and that was never a good selling tactic. Nobody wants to work super hard and use this product for a long time and then eventually have a win. And I think that's why the supplements, because I was in the supplement space too, are so better because you say, hey, take this pill and you'll feel better. Or, or at least you think, it's making you not hungry or whatever. And so it's always easier to sell that quick win. Whereas like you're saying with the course, you have to make it more tangible for right now. Which is a difficult thing to do. So how would you suggest like we do that in the sense of like social certification, which is mainly about strategy? We're teaching people how to think about social in a different way than they did before in order to gain leads and conversions, but it's still going to take some time.
I mean, the bonus could be a fast start where you can make the money back in the first week or 2 weeks or something like that if they implement this series of steps.
Oh, I like that. So basically kind of like, hey, here's the cheat for right now, get them wins. And then
Yeah.
the long-term benefit will also happen. But in the meantime, you'll stay motivated.
Yeah. Because here's the thing, like that social media template that I talk about, when I floated it, into the internet, and when people use it, the responses they got were crazy. Like, someone went from a national trainer, like he was a corporate trainer, and he got like regional gigs out of one social media post.
Wow.
Another girl, basically a student or a young adult, like, no money and everything, took the post, posted it up, and Akon hired her to be the brand ambassador for his like social movement, and something that freaking Akon from a girl in Malaysia. So I get these insane results, and so I just say, look, use this magic formula, boom. So it's like a magic spell. A, B, C, D, E equals, whatever, F or whatever. So
that's awesome. Well, I love the concept too, because it is, for me, I'm kind of, an educator. So I'm always like, oh, let me get you to understand all these points before I tell you how to actually use it, because I want you to build something, special. However, there's no way they're going to get to that point if I don't also say, hey, use this 1 10-minute trick to go get some followers or get some traffic right now.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So again, I think another thing is basically give people what they want and then give them what they need.
It's a good tip too. Love that.
Yeah.
No, it's fantastic. Well, and I love the whole concept, the UFO, and the your whole message behind write your own check, because I think that's something that everybody's going to have to do more, because we talked about a little bit about AI, but there's a good chance that AI is going to replace a ton of jobs, or if not jobs, responsibilities of those jobs, and people are going to have to start thinking about what to do next. So it sounds like make courses and UFOs, and you're good to go.
Yes. And here's the thing, right, about UFOs and about offers is the biggest mistake we make as marketers and business owners is that we think what we like to think that what the market wants is what we want.
Yeah.
Rather than
we think
the market wants something. We are the market, yes. And the biggest problem with that is then you come up with products you think the market wants, and it just flops because you're not listening.
Yeah. Same thing with content. I'm a big content person. I'm like, the piece that will hit will never be the piece that you think will. Like, you will always be. Right. I've been doing this for 20 years and I am always wrong. So offers are the same way. Why wouldn't they be?
Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
Well, these are fantastic. Great tips. I think it sounds straightforward, but what you're actually talking about requires quite a bit of, bravery, I would say, because it's hard, because you think you want to go safe. You don't want to, alienate your markets where you're not focusing on, because you don't want them to think that you can't also serve them. So it requires you really identifying your avatar, really thinking about what can make the biggest impact for that avatar as soon as possible, and help them make that decision today, because it's that urgent. Or, you help people understand how urgent it is.
Yeah, I think with ChatGPT, it makes it a bit easier to just narrow down your avatar as well, right? You just have to put what keeps your avatar awake at night.
Yeah. Well, but I think with the avatar, the avatar is that important, especially because everybody has ChatGPT, so anybody could make basic offers, right? You can say, make me an offer that will sell this item. But if you have the understanding of the avatar, then not only will that offer be better, but all the content that surrounds that offer will be consistent too, because you're writing for that one individual and not let me cover all markets, right?
Yeah, I think one thing I do is I just launch an offer every month and I see who takes up which offer.
Yeah,
and then I just tweak from there. So basically, I do record, like, I just do recordings of some of my mastermind sessions, which I do every 2 weeks anyway, and I just repackage them into offers. I just keep shipping them out, and then I start seeing patterns.
Yep. And then you start to realize what hits. And that's, again, a great tip too, because, no matter how good we try to be, nothing beats your own testing, because at the end of the day, every single offer is unique to every person offering it, right? So there's no way you could know what's going to work. Even if something worked really well for one brand, it might not work well for another brand, which requires you to just try a bunch. So combine the process of identifying your market, really trying to create those UFOs that really matter and will make people make a decision, and then test that process. In your case, you do it every 2 weeks, which is very frequent.
Yeah, so that's what I do in my list. I slowed down because now I got the data. So that's when I start looking and seeing and mix and matching, and like what will scale on cold traffic, what will scale on, as a backend offer in email, because in the email list you don't need a good offer to convert, like because but once you go to cold, then it's a slightly different story. And the other thing about offers, right, is align your offers to both value and values. And
I like that.
And what I mean value is, whatever is valuable. Like in terms of bonuses, I find like info products, the bonuses are what drive the sales. At the end of the day, it's the bonus that drives the sale, because people think that they're getting huge value from, because they're not paying for it and everything. And I find the bonuses that convert the best are what I call domino effect bonuses.
Ooh, what's that?
Yeah. So basically, how dominoes, right? You knock one domino and it just, it falls, it cascades, right? And so what happens is every solution creates a new problem. So when you provide a solution, there's a knock-on effect that it creates an additional problem that needs to be solved. So on the macro level, let's say with COVID, we all experienced COVID, lockdowns, whatnot. So COVID happened, that was the problem. The solution to COVID was lockdowns and social distancing. The problem that happens from lockdowns and social distancing are things like our immunity system is terrible right now. There's a mental health epidemic, and et cetera, et cetera. So what your bonus is to solve that particular problem. So the problem that emerges. So basically with social media, it'll be like, okay, this is a social media stream that you're having. What are the problems that emerge when you take a social media course? It could be things like, I don't know how to market myself. They could be, I'm a newbie. So I don't know a thing about social media. I don't know how to switch on the computer. Let's say, then your bonus could be something like a newbie bonus. Or it could be something like, all of this is very confusing. Like, whatever short videos are very confusing, long videos are very confusing. What are the rules for each? Your bonus could be, here's the rule book for each of the platforms. Yeah. So this I call domino effect. So that's value. Values is really, what you stand for. And, I keep saying, write your own damn check, because it attracts a certain demographic of people. So value and values in the offer side of things. Yeah.
Love it. Well, and really what you're doing is you're essentially getting those new people, and then you're indoctrinating them into the brand. And now they're not new people anymore. And now you could sell them the rest of whatever you're doing. Yeah. So I love it. That's genius. Makes perfect sense. And it is really an easy way to understand it, because I think, in marketing in general, it's really easy to overcomplicate things. And, oh no, you need science and you need all this stuff. It's like, no, what you need to do is you need to have a system, execute the system consistently for a while. And then you can start to identify the trends and use those metrics to scientifically start scaling. But you have to go through that first part.
Yes.
You can't skip that.
That is true. You can't skip that. Yeah. So that's what we do.
Love it. Well, I think this has been fantastic. Excellent tips, very actionable and easy to understand. And I think that's a hard thing to do. So I could tell that you're a copywriter because you do it well. So way to go.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kenneth. Very informative, super useful tips.
Thank you.
And really appreciate you coming on.
Thank you. Awesome. Cool.
All right. And thank you so much for listening. Be sure to hit that follow button so you get notified when all of our new episodes release. And please share this with that friend who's clueless about digital marketing. And also don't forget to visit digitalmarketer.com where you can access all of our courses, certifications, and training programs. Thanks again, everyone, and we'll see you next time.